Good evening. How you doing? Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. About an hour or so ago, we just got back from, my wife wanted to go to a place called Ruby Tuesdays. I don't know if they have them in any other states, but she wanted to get a sirloin steak, I believe it was. And I can't chew it because I got no teeth, but I love steak, but I just can't chew it. So I said, I want you to get whatever you want, and that's what she wanted. So we all just got back from Ruby Tuesdays, like I say, say about an hour ago, an hour and a half ago. It might have been a little bit, maybe a little later than that, but anyways. I want to make a video. I was watching 12-volt Vid's video tonight, and he was working on one of his boom boxes, his Sony with AM stereo, and it kind of jived the old gray matter here that this is my SANYO boombox that I bought about, I would say 15 years ago from the Fair Oak School indoor yard sale when they used to have it over there. As I've been retired for since 2006, so I bought it way before then. And I paid $10 for this, and replaced the rod antenna on it. This is not AM stereo, but 12 volts Vids gave me kind of like, hey, why don't I do a show and tell on this thing? I do have a video on this, but I got a copyright match on one of the songs I was playing through it. I think it was Fats Domino, but the copyright match did not mention Fats Domino, but that's the song I was playing. I think it was Blueberry Hill or something like that. So I got to be careful when I'm playing through it. This has got a 4-foot whip on it. 4 foot. And I don't remember where I bought this antenna. It could have been at Radio Shack when they were in business, because when I got it, the antenna was broken off of it. So I was lucky to get that. This sits on our headboard. And that's the only place it sits. No batteries in it. Plugs in. And before I bought the Grundig from Don Mangold, the Grundig with the digital readout, which I keep on my headboard, I was using this to listen to AM 75 and 80 meters, because this does go down there. So it has several shortwave bands, AM and FM. And I believe the speakers are at least 6 inches. It uses 4 speakers, 2 tweeters and 2 woofers, a cassette deck. There it is. But years ago when I got it, I had the attic workshop, and I disconnected the wire that powers the motor because it stayed on all the time and it needed a belt. And this is a bear to put a belt in. It's solenoid controlled on the cassette. And I didn't want the thing to keep going and going and going, like the Energizer. So I disconnected it because I never play tapes on it. I use it for the radio only. I brought it into the shop here, not only for show and tell, but I want to clean the controls, because the band switch here, which is 4 positions. So AM, FM, shortwave 1 and shortwave 2 is staticky, and sometimes you'll get the reception in good and sometimes you don't. So at the time, I cleaned the switches many years ago, but I didn't know about deoxid, so I'm going to use deoxid D5 on the controls and stuff like that. So I want to get you a closer look at this. But before I do that, I want to take the back off. So let me stop the recording now and get this turned around here. and we'll remove the back. It's a long radio. It's 22 inches long and 12 and a half inches high, not counting this, if you put the handle down. So it's a big radio, and it's 6 inches deep, thick. So, and it weighs, I'm going to say it weighs at least 10 pounds. And there's no batteries in it. It takes 9 D cells. Or it runs on 120 volts. It plugs in the side over here. Or 12 to 13.8 volts center pin positive on a wall wart. So you'd need, well, probably a wall wart that'll handle a couple of amps anyways. The model is it's a SANYO M like in Mary's -X650K. Okay. And as I said, it's cassette, single cassette. It picked up a lot of dust. That's just, it hasn't been opened in years, so I got to clean that out. Let me get my reading glasses on here. All right, it's AM medium wave, which is AM right here. 550 to 1600, I believe. Yeah. And shortwave 1 is 2.3 megacycles to 7 megacycles. So I listen to the 75 and 80 meter band right in, off camera again as always, right in this area here. And then there's shortwave 2, which is 7.5 to 23 megacycles. And then the FM is, of course, 88 to 108 megacycles. Your tone, balance, bass and treble, mode, expand, stereo, and mono. All these switches have got to be clean too. Function is line in and phono, radio on, and tape and off. You got no Dolby noise reduction, on or off, and normal tape and chromium dioxide tape right here, and metal. Very hard. That orange is very, very hard for me to see. Metal tape. So you got 3 positions for the tape. Your tape counter for 0. And as I said, this is solenoid operated. Now, you've got your microphone input and earphones. You got your mic mixing, I believe that is. My reading glasses just don't magnify enough. Anyways, this is all for the tape, and this is the battery cover. I had marked this a long time ago because I had this in my shop in the attic, and the cover was off for a while, and I didn't want to lose it, so that's what I marked what it goes to. On the back here, before I get too far along here, you've got your line in and phono right here. And I can't make out what that is. You're probably seeing it on the camera, but I can't make out what it is. I have to get my lighted eye lobe to see that. And then, of course, you got the line in and line out right here. And left and right microphone inputs right here. Okay, so let me get this back off. I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, all the screws that are marked with an arrow, all the holes, are the ones that I have to remove. So not all of these have screws in them. And external speaker goes here. So let me go do that. I got to be careful here. It's been years since I opened this up. It's time to clean the switches. Been so long since I opened this up, the back would not come off till I removed the knobs. I didn't think this whole thing would come out like that. I had to remove all the knobs on all of the controls. And now I think it'll just push right through. I don't remember having to do that. I don't know about this one. And what tipped me off is when I was trying to pry the back off, which I did by hand and no screwdrivers involved, these knobs started going through the front, you know, sinking down. So in other words, it was connected all together. So all the components must be, the boards and everything must be mounted on the back. All right, let me get this, let me get you on the truck. All right, so now, get this turned over. I removed, there are 6 screws in the back and 1 in the battery compartment, which did not have an arrow on it. Wait, I'll tell you, I don't remember having this trouble. But, doesn't seem to want to come out. I don't want to force it and stick screwdrivers in here. There is, I took all the screws out. There's no screw in there. And that one don't have an arrow and there's no screw in there. I took the screw out of here. That squeaking you hear is just against plastic. There it is. Just the cassette door had to be opened. I don't work on these things too often. All right. It's very dusty in there. Very, very dusty in there. Let's see if I can get this. I can lay down on the back here. There's my notations I had here. Now let's see. Okay, there's 6.5-inch speakers. I measured them. And this was here. This is fiberglass. These were in here, I guess as baffles or whatever. I'm gonna clean all these controls. I'm gonna do that off camera. And I cleaned a little bit with my brush here. I don't remember having to do all this taken apart, but I guess, you know, it's been a long time. Like I say, at least 15 years. And everything works very well because I just used this a couple nights ago, and I usually put it on and let me show you my note here. I got to turn the camera upside down. I had disconnected the motor because, as I said, it kept running. And I put this note in there. And disconnected the wires, but marked them so that they can go right back on there again. And I wouldn't attempt to change the belt in this because it's too many things to remove. And I don't play cassettes anyway, so I didn't buy it for that. Well, I cleaned all the all the controls and the switches with Deoxit D5. And this switch here is a rotary switch. It's kind of unusual. You turn it, but it looks like a slide switch, but I can't tell. I can't tell what it's doing in there, so I just sprayed the Deoxit down in there and worked it around about a couple dozen times. Here's your antenna, your AM loop stick. I cleaned these controls here. This is the dial cord, the tuner. This is the power supply. No hum or anything. Capacitors look like they're okay. And this is, one is earphone, I believe one is microphone. I dusted it out as much as I could. It's kind of awkward in the shop here. But I think we're ready to put it back into the case. And I'll do that off camera. I do a better job when I'm not on camera, because I have to be very careful. I don't want to break anything here. You know, when I took this apart the first time, I had much better vision than I have now, so I have to be extremely careful with things. I do not want to break this. This is a real nice boombox here, and I want to keep it for many years. This is a 4-foot antenna, but I can't open it all the way in the shop here. Make sure that you're still in camera view here. This is all right. We know it works. We can't play too much here. This is all right. This is the AM band. I got the volume all the way down. Yep.
And just don't move the money.com. Stay with us. Coming up next.
Hi, this is Susan Warnick with Stanley, founder of Just Don't
Just in the town in the downtown, the official Chinatown is pretty.
A lot of static in here. Got to remember, we got a lot of man-made noise here. Wall warts all over the place. LEDs. Lighting.
Making an impression. Sparking sale.
And everything else.
News. But this other source will go unnamed.
It gets a lot of stations, but I want to see if I get any short wave in here. But you see, without an outside antenna, see, this is why when you try out a radio, an AM or short wave, you've got to be away from man-made noises or have an outside antenna. Well, I'm running this, so you're not going to get that. Let me turn off the most noise here for the light. Not as bad. So let me just see if I can get any hams in here at all. I doubt it. I doubt it. I can get them in the house, but I got the antenna full length, 4 feet, but I get a lot of interference in the house.
A just punishment for the sins that people do, and that is called the day of fast. And there's the day of fast. Really, Christians...
That's about 5 megacycles right there.
Would be partakers of that. Yeah.
It's a little over 5 megacycles. Well, that's about the 75 meter band, but we're not getting it because we got too much interference here, and we got to get an outside antenna on this. So let's shortwave 2 here. See if we get anything. I don't expect anything there either.
Welcome to EWTN Pro, your weekly dose of the top. Which Miller of the game? Rudolph.
I was going to say, Santa's Rudolph.
Not bad for inside, and probably the antenna's about 3 foot. I can't open it any more than that. It's hitting up against the instruments up there.
It's not part of the rotation.
Can't help it. I got LEDs and CFLs in the main shed going too. So if I shut those lights off, I'll be in the dark.
CHU Canada, UTC, 0 heures, 33 minutes.
0 hours, 33 minutes.
It's between 7.8, 7 point, that I'm picking that up between 7.5 and 8.5 megacycles. Well, anyways, okay, that concludes the video on this SANYO model M-X650K. And I'm going to put it back on our headboard, and should be good for another who knows how many years. Everything's working good, no more scratchy controls. And we had a lot of dust in there that just accumulated. It's been sitting in the bedroom for many, many years, and was never taken apart and cleaned. Of course, I didn't really clean it as thoroughly as I should have. That's it, folks. I hope you all had your wives and your moms out there had a great Mother's Day. And thank you for watching. Have a good night, everybody.